They had friends, a career, a life that looked put together. But for them, there's no future. So why did they kill themselves? Some suicide missions aren't so subtle. The slow burn destroys them in the end. Bringing clarity to this conversation is Robert Jean, founder and CEO of Skills to Change Institute, creator of Eutaptics and FasterEFT. He is known as the Einstein of the mind. Robert has spent over 4 decades helping people rewrite memories, shift emotional patterns, and create measurable, lasting change. Before we begin, subscribe to stay with us each week as we explore the mind, human behavior, and the practical skills that create real change. And now, here is Sir Robert Jean.
Yeah, suicide. You know, it's interesting. We are all winners in this world. And when I say that, at some point you were a spark in someone's eye. You were the fastest swimmer to the egg. You won. 9 months later, you won again. And now you're on the last race, and that is the race from birth to death. Some will go faster, some will go slower, but we're all going to get there. But why does someone speed up the course? Why does someone say, I've had enough? Why do they do this crazy behavior? And to be honest with you, there actually really is a good reason. And the reason starts from within the individuals. But there is something that always works, and it's what I understand completely. And that's how the brain works and how we process tough times in our life. So there is a reason.
Right. Yeah. Well, I'm looking forward to hearing what this reason is because I know you know things and I know that you're going to help us completely shift our perception about what suicide is, how the brain works. So how does the brain learn suicide as an option in the first place?
That's a very simple question. It's because it's the natural system that the brain uses. We all do it. But what is that? If I feel bad or something bothers me, what do? You redirect. You go somewhere else. You avoid. So we have an innate system built within us, and that is to move away from pain. Now, again, and there's a lot of variables here, but the number one thing is I feel bad, something bothers me, something upsets me. Your brain says, I have a solution. Cake, cookies, ice cream, cigarettes, smoking, drinking, Facebooking, texting, shopping. So this system inside of us is trying to solve a problem that's within. So we look outside for an escape. So, we talk about what is suicide. I have my little brother, my youngest brother,
Yeah.
my favorite brother. He committed suicide. I don't know how long ago it was. It seems like a long time ago, maybe 3 years ago or 4 years ago. And, I had to understand how it works. And I do understand even before he died because I've worked with so many people with suicide and who want to kill themselves. They come to my office. They have, big old bottle of pills in their car, in their ashtray, not their ashtray, in their glove box. And so I go, well, why do you want to kill yourself? I think my family would be better off without me. Tim was the same way. He says I knew Tim for, a long time, and he booked a session with me. I brought him out from the foyer. He looked like somebody beat him up really good. He looked like he's a drug addict. He's sitting in my office and said, what's wrong, Tim? He goes, I just want to kill myself. I've got the noose hung up in my attic. I'm ready to do it.
Wow.
I go, why? Why? So there is a reason. I understand the mental mechanics of it. But then there's other ways that people kill themselves, but they do it slowly, very slow.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know?
Well, and you're talking about the people who had thoughts and they were sitting in your office, and those are a lot of the people that are coming to you. They have these thoughts of suicide. And according to statistics, it's 12.8 million adults who seriously consider suicide.
But why?
Why? Yes, please tell
Why?
us why.
I mean, this is the reason why. Remember, I just said just a few moments ago, You feel
Yeah.
bad. Something's upsetting you. You're looking for a way out. You're looking for escape. So you
Mm-hmm.
go drink, porn, you
Mm-hmm.
shopping, smoking, eating, drink,
Mm-hmm.
whatever you can do to escape the current feelings. And so this is why I want a way out. I want an escape. I want to numb this horrible pain that I have within me. Now, we talk about pain. There's lots of variables with pain. There's physical pain. Now, physical pain has a lot of emotional pain. There's mental pain. When I say mental pain, they have stories, memories, fears. They create what you call a devastating future. And the worst thing that says, I don't want to be there again. I don't want to do that again. So they're trying to find a way out. So a lot of them are suffering now and they see no way out and they think death is an easy way, and others see, I'm afraid what's going to happen to my future. So then they're going to find a way to escape the miserable future they imagine and projected from within themselves. So
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of different styles with this. It's like some people, it's a slow burn suicide. Now, remember, we're all going to die. That's just how it works. You can't get away from that part. Even though we say, I should quit doing X, Y, or Z because it's destroying my health. But the reason why you choose whatever you choose is because it seems to be a solution, a temporary solution. Because, I volunteered drug rehabs, in 10 years. And of course, addiction, we're talking about meth, heroin, cocaine, whatever it is, alcohol, smoke, whatever it is, food, etc. Um, that's a solution to an internal pain. So they're going to something seemingly to solve the burning fire of misery from within. So
Mm-hmm.
this is the structure or the system why people would want to commit suicide.
Right.
Why? Because again, you think about it, there's a very famous cook. And he was an alcoholic or drug addict, whatever he was. And of course, he's very famous. I can't remember what his name is now, but he ended up committing suicide. But why? Well, if you're an alcoholic, what does alcohol do for you? It helps you escape the misery that you had within. So he's been in
Mm-hmm.
AA for all these years, and all these years, they create what we call a dumping upon the solution. Now remember, an addiction to the conscious mind is a way out. It's a solution to an internal conflict. It's a diversion, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
so now if you join a group and they're dumping on your escape, which is your alcohol, your drugs, whatever, eventually that escape no longer becomes an option because it's so negative in your mind. You had to find another way. Very common amongst those who join these addiction groups, AA, NA, etc. Of course, the system originally, if you really could do this, is make peace with the pain of the past. If you can change the pain of the past, then the past doesn't make you want to escape. But the system also says you'll always have this issue, right? Keep
Mm-hmm.
coming back because it works. Well, it doesn't work. And these guys who've been in there forever, they're still emotionally miserable. They still have the memories of the abuses and the traumas that drive their nightmares and their pain. And since they can't go to alcohol or drugs, whatever it is they're using to escape, the only way out is suicide.
Mm.
So that's a typical model.
Yeah.
We're talking about my youngest brother. His name's Chris. He was a happy-go-lucky guy. He's a very big smile. He was really good. He had a good life, fun, exciting. He did drink. He did like his alcohol. He loved partying with his friends. And he committed suicide. But why? Well, it wasn't that long ago. I mean, before he committed suicide, I say within 2 years before that, he loved riding his motorcycle. He liked drinking his beer. He drove a truck, a semi truck, delivered gas. So he was out drinking, and so he went and sat in his truck to sleep it off. There's a tap on the window, police officers. Truck wasn't running, he wasn't driving, he just got in there to sleep. And they arrested him and charged him with DUI. He wasn't driving, he just
Mm-hmm.
slept.
Yeah.
And so at that point, he lost everything. He lost his career. He lost everything. And eventually the charges were dropped. He started his new career again, back driving trucks on top of the world. Everything's good.
Mm-hmm.
His girlfriend broke up with him. And he did some stupid things. He texted her daughter some things he shouldn't have. And then all the community was out to get him and after him. And he saw another horrible future.
Ooh.
And the pain to the first one was a bad one. And he didn't want to go through it again. So he just took his life.
Right.
One
Yeah.
shot, all over.
Wow. So the suffering that how he was thinking on the inside of him, the suffering was so great. There was no more escaping. The alcohol wasn't doing it for him anymore. Now, like the women, maybe that wasn't
No,
doing it
nothing.
either.
But see, you have to understand, before all this stuff, I would, he knows what I do. He knows the work I do. He knows I help people.
Right.
They've been to my seminars. And he goes, I don't see why people are sad. Why are depressed? Life is good.
Interesting.
Until he lost everything, his life, his world, and he was not a very happy camper.
Right.
And it all came back. And then he said, I can't do it again.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of 1,000
Wow.
stories I heard. 1,000
Yeah.
stories.
So when people have these suicidal thoughts in that moment where they are in it, like Chris was in it, like
Mhm.
he already knew how he was going to do it. He already, like, because he obviously he knew how he was going to do. I mean, maybe you don't know, but obviously he had a gun.
Oh, he had mini guns,
Okay.
mini guns.
So,
Yeah.
so I, and maybe people pre-plan it. I don't know. Some are
Well,
premeditated.
you can't commit suicide unless you have an idea how you're going to do it, right?
Well, yes, but some people leave letters, some people don't. That's what I'm talking
I
about.
think he left a, I think he left a letter too. But
Oh,
the point is the whole
right,
story is built on misery and pain.
right. Yes. So when they are in it and like they have the suicidal thoughts, maybe they have
Now let's
already
talk about
decided
suicidal thoughts. What are the thoughts? The
suffering.
thoughts that is the misery, the horrible
Yes.
future they make up. They're replaying and imagining and rehearsing what they think other people think. They think about how horrible it's going to be, how they'll be arrested, incarcerated,
Oh,
beaten
there we
up,
go.
dying miserable. Another client, for example, been married for a long time, and she wanted a divorce. She's tired of the style and the relationship, and she's done. And of
Hmm.
course, he's up in age, in his 70s, and
Right.
and of course, he was diagnosed with Parkinson's, and of course, his buddies saying how horrible Parkinson's is, and of course, they've been married for 50 plus years together. I mean, this is his whole life, his whole world, right?
Mm.
And again, granted, she shares why and all the traumas and the things he put her through, and he's crying. He feels really sorry for what he did, and he
Right.
wants to clean this stuff up. He wants to clean this stuff up. He booked a work on him,
Right.
and he's
Wow.
crying and he's doing all this stuff,
Yeah.
and we're sorting his head out.
Right.
But one thing is his devastating future he's imagining because
Right.
he's losing
Yeah.
that relationship.
Mm-hmm.
That relationship. And so he
Mm-hmm.
just saw a horrible future for himself, a lonely
Right.
future for himself. And of
Yeah.
course, he didn't want to do that. And of
Right.
course, unfortunately, he had dinner with his best friend, and he also has some illnesses, and he talked about, yeah, I was watching on the internet about how to do it and all this other stuff, and how because I don't want to suffer miserably, I don't want to die miserably, I don't want to be helpless and hopeless, and a lot of people have that programming, and they want a way out. And so he gave instructions how to do it. And you know what? He did exactly as his buddy said. You know,
So
exactly.
he committed suicide?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh
With a
no.
gun.
Oh, so
Now,
but
now
he didn't.
I want you, read the statistics about relationships, the vast amount of people and how they either get sick, they commit suicide because of relationships ending or because of relationships. It's massive. Matter of fact, I always say the number one cause of our problems in the world is built from relationships. Mom, dad, brother, sister, aunt, uncle, kids at school, everything. And we internalize this world and we use this world to give ourselves identity and excuses and problems. So what does it say?
Well, for the global statistics, it's 720,000 people die of suicide every year, according to WHO.
Mm-hmm.
Among relationships with divorce, divorce significantly impacts both mental and physical health, with research showing increased risks of depression, anxiety, substance abuse, chronic illnesses.
Mm-hmm.
Adults who divorce are 20 to 30% more likely to suffer from long-term health problems such as heart disease, diabetes, cancer, and 23% more likely to experience mobility issues, difficulty walking, climbing upstairs. So people that have relationship issues, they can already watch their symptoms. I guess they can look at what their body's expressing.
Yeah. So, yeah, another thing too, just understand this. So, again, this is a trauma. Divorce is trauma, and it depends on who you're divorcing too. It depends on who you're divorcing because, I personally went through a divorce, and the divorce is determined by the players and the emotional health behind individuals. So, yeah, divorce. Now, I have, a doctor who came to my system. Actually, she said I saved her life. She's an oncologist there in Canada. And she knew that divorce has a major health impact. Major health impact.
How did she know that? What was she seeing?
Well, she's a doctor. So I have a video here. I'll let you listen to see what she says.
So Robert saved my life. So I'm an oncologist, so I treat people with cancer. And so I've done a lot of personal work in the past, and I read a lot of books, and psychology is my pastime, and I really enjoy that. So, but I'm also aware, sometimes I ask them, why did you get cancer, right? And they tell me, oh, well, my husband left, he had an affair. Hello, who is looking me in the mirror? And I was so aware that if I stayed, it was my decision to leave at the end, because I was aware if I stay in that marriage, I'm actually going to get cancer. And when I got out, I was aware that if I don't clean myself up, that I'm actually going to get cancer. And I have 12 to 18 months. This is why there was this absolute panic to do something now, because the time is very limited, and I know that. And so this happened in March, so it took me 4 months to kind of get my head straight and actually find FasterEFT, which happened right on time. And so it's 10 months now. And I'll tell you, I'll never get cancer because I don't need it. I don't need, people get cancer for various different reasons. And I had a friend who I asked her, why do you get cancer? And she told me, because my husband cheated on me and I just wanted to get even at him. Okay? And she said to me, and I said, wow, I said, that's a bit kind of scary what you're saying. And she said, well, I can also control everybody with my cancer. She was very self-aware. But she also died from the cancer, right? And I think, do I need that? Do I want to control my husband with this? Do I want to get even with him? Absolutely not. I know that he loved me. I know that what he did was really because he had his own issue, and that's what his dad did, and that was the way that, they cope in the family. They find other girlfriends or whatever. And that was really his gift to me. It really was. For me to finally address something that I needed to address. And to release me, because I would have never otherwise left him. So what a gift of love, really, and that's how I see it right now. So that's how Robert saved my life. So thank you, Robert. Yeah.
What I got from that relationships, they will affect you.
All right, so let me just say this, guys.
Yep.
You listen to Mara, and science has proven this. Science has shown that 2 years after a major emotional trauma, cancer is discovered, right? So what's the problem really? The problem is our inability to deal with our emotions. If you don't know how to address your pain, you don't know how to address your hurts, what way out? I mean, I too went through a very tough time. You know, when you have attacks and blames and all this stuff and you're, loss and all this, there were points that said, how's my way out? You know? Of course, I go to tap and start cleaning out, but I notice those thoughts. Those thoughts do happen. The misery is horrible. And a part of it, we play with the stories. We don't know what next thing this other person will do. You just don't know. So people have these stories that create inside of ourselves. And so what I do, I work on myself. I tap myself. I have my students. I have people I care for tap on me to work on my stuff.
Yeah.
And if you don't, it could wear you out. So these things do happen. And so she was smart enough. She knows that the emotional impact in our life creates health problems. 75 to 90% of all doctors' visits are emotional and stress complaints. 100% true. So Chris killed himself because he saw no way out. He saw a horrible future. His misery and pain inside of him ended his life because he didn't know. Now he knows I could help him. He knows. But you know what? There's a lot of people who know my stuff and it works, but they don't use it. They don't use it. They know it works, but they don't use it. I know it works. I use it on myself.
Exactly. So what happens inside of someone where they know this tool now, like they've been through level 1, they understand how Eutaptics works, but they don't use it. They step away.
It's because the misery is so big. It seems so real. And the part of it is, the weird thing is, the misery is also self-generated, self-created by imagination, by replaying stories, by personalizing what happened, and catastrophizing. That's what happens inside the mind.
I think that's so huge right now for the listeners to hear what you just said. You said it feels so real. So explain what you mean when you say that, because
It's simple. Remember a happy moment, and as you remember it, feels real. When I have people come to see me, and I do sessions. I help people change their lives, adjust memories, and I use it on myself too. So they come to see me, and we're talking about something that happened to them at 5 years old, and they're crying as if they're re-experiencing again. It seems so real.
Yeah.
The bizarre thing is we create a story with it. We create identity with it. We create a plan with it, not knowingly that we do that. So yes, it seems real. When Tim walked in and he looked like a drug addict, and we're talking about he wanted to commit suicide, I go, why, Tim? Well, he made mistakes. He'd done some stupid things. And it didn't help that he was married to someone who was extremely abusive. You call it narcissistic, very abusive narcissistic tactics. It's always your fault. It's the blame. You're the bad one. And by the way, she learned that from where she comes from. And so this compounds the misery. And if you're coming from this environment and you're tolerating abuse, then you start doing it too. So the first session, people say, well, he was on like 3 antidepressants. And they said, well, I can work with people on antidepressants. They come in, they're crying like a baby. We're cleaning up stuff. The second session, his tears aren't as big. He's not going to hang himself. Now you think about, maybe I'll just sit in the car and let it run in a garage. And we clean that up. Now, again, he doesn't have a plan at the end of each session. And at the end, and next time he comes in, he in his mind, he generates, creates, and imagines. And he comes in, we clean up. By the time we're done, life is much different now for him. There's no need, there's no purpose, there's no reason. And today, he's alive. His career is great. His world is great. He's got great relationships. And it all starts with himself. So he wanted to get out. He didn't know how to get out. And by the way, if you go traditional world, outside of my world, you go to a therapist, you're going to talk about the shit. It doesn't make you feel better. You feel like committing suicide after you leave. It feels worse. Yeah. And then, of course, if you're taking, like Kathy, she said, well, I'm so depressed. I'm on 3 antidepressants. I can't get off the couch. I can't do anything. Well, because it's not a chemical problem, it's a mental processing issue. And if they don't know how to change memories, which I do, it ends the issues. Because see, when you're in the war and you're being attacked and lied about, and they're running all your friends away and lying to your friends and trying to get your family against you, this is an evil plot and plan that some people do. And the crazy thing is, when you're in the middle of it, you don't even know what the hell's happening, you know? So again, this is a bizarre attack, and people, I've worked with a lot of people who have these experiences. I personally experienced this, but it comes from many angles and ways, you know? And I said, listen, they're not going to pick a poor man or an ugly man or a broke man or a miserable man. These characteristics, find someone who is successful. They want you. They want something from you. And what they do is they come in and try to destroy you with different thoughts, different angles, different attacks. And so now you're the young woman, you're the young older woman, you're the man, and you're suffering misery because your whole life has been controlled by someone else. So your slow burn suicide is misery, you know, health issues. Health issues is a reflection of emotional experiences, resolved or unresolved. So, yeah, what happens inside the mind?
Right.
I have no way out. I'm trapped. And of course, you know, we have people who are severely, chronically ill. You know, we look at Rose Hartgrove, for example. She's had a lifetime. I mean, she's a psychiatric nurse, a lifetime of trauma starting in her childhood, never feeling like loved and not good enough. Diagnosed with lupus, blood tested there. She's a psychiatric nurse. For years she's had this. And then she started my system. And after the first session, by addressing the emotional traumas and the internalization of the world, she rolled out in her wheelchair when she first came to us in October. And rolled out in her wheelchair, she said, I noticed some of my symptoms of lupus disappearing. From October to February, she's still using my system, doing sessions, getting worked on this stuff, cleaned up. Now she's not in a wheelchair, she's actually walking.
I love that. Yeah.
It's a true story. She's walking and she gets a phone call because before she came to Oklahoma, she went to the doctor, got her blood test and all this stuff, check out. And in the seminar, she's getting called from 3 times. She said, he never calls me 3 times. Come to find out, on the break, she listens to the message. He says, lupus is doesn't show up in your blood anymore.
My iPhone kept going off, and I had it on vibrate. And it went off several times, and there was a message on there that says your lab work has come back with no lupus symptoms, no signs of lupus. And it kept going off. Like 3 to 5 times, and I thought, why on earth would he call me? Like, he never calls me more than once. He just leaves a message. Apparently this was a big deal. And there are no symptoms of lupus. There are no inflammatory markers of lupus. It is, for all intents and purposes, gone. You develop this illness or an illness because you stop caring about being alive. And I think I had given up. I think the stress and the past traumas were alive in my body, and I think I pulled those stressors out. Robert has been very compassionate. I am so grateful. I have gotten my life back.
Now she's walking. She's not in a wheelchair. She's better. And it didn't change but one way, and that is making peace with memories.
Yes.
So there's a lot of people on a slow burn suicide mission because they're afraid. They're afraid to going inside their head. Somebody said, I'd rather you beat me with a stick than take me inside my head.
Right. Wow.
Beat me with a stick than take me inside my head. And, you know, some people say, well, narcissists will never change. You know why? Because they don't want to look at the scary parts of themselves. And it's a narcissistic trait. It's not a real person. It's a trait. And basically, I'm too afraid what I have within me. So I'd rather physically suffer than to deal with it mentally and emotionally. That's why suicide happens.
Wow. You're linking it to narcissism.
Well, narcissism, now you have to understand, there is a misnomer about narcissism out there, right? It's a disorder because the people who gave it a disorder don't know how the brain works, they don't know how to change anything.
Yep.
Everybody uses the tactics for self-survival. Now, some are extremely big, manipulative, abusive, controlling because they learned it from their environment. They don't go to the library, check out a
No.
book on how to be this way. This is an
No.
innate built-in survival system we all possess.
Mm-hmm.
And some do it more so because of the extremities of their experiences, the massive amount, and also witnessing parents do it to each other or twins do it to each other.
Mm. Yeah.
So again, you have to get it out. It's not a character. These are tactics for survival.
Right. Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And like you usually say, it's an education.
Yeah, life is just an
Educated.
education. Yeah.
Yeah. And then you recycle those experiences.
Now, when you say life, it said because post-traumatic stress disorder is not a disorder. Post-traumatic stress survival system is what it is, and so experiencing life, we witness it. Whether it's a war memory, a rape memory, a trauma, whatever it is, we witness it, and our brain takes it in and internalizes it, which means every one of you created the tormentor within yourself by what you witnessed. Now, you have to understand, we're talking about mechanics, not consciousness. So your brain witnesses it, internalizes it, and creates what you call a memory. Now, that memory, depending on what you internalize, impacts decisions, identity, and value. Mm-hmm. And then, from that point forward, what is your brain going to use it? It's going to use it on you. So anytime a smell, a look, a situation, your brain says, warning, warning, panic attack, scared, whatever it is, it's only doing it for survival. So everything is inside you. Now, when you visit a memory, a bad memory or a good memory, the system operates the same. It creates it, makes it feel real. But in reality, it's just recordings, internalizations. Pogo said, I have found the enemy, and the enemy is us. It's not what they did to you, but what you internalized from what occurred.
Right. So this goes back to the recording that you're talking about. And I want to take us back even to what you said before. When you're in the midst of those thoughts, this suffering, and you're getting hit from all these different angles, you're being rejected, people are talking about you, you're the low life of whatever, all the things that people are and your recordings and what you're doing on the inside of you, you said it wasn't real.
It sure feels real, but it isn't really real.
And that's the significant part that I really want to fully understand here, because I think this will help people in those moments of despair and suffering. Like, I understand, yes, change the memories, but in that moment.
Yeah. In that moment, you're actually in a hypnotic trance, a hypnotic state. You're in a state that you created from inside your head based on the fuel, the worries, the imaginations, the images, the things spoken to you, the things you imagine you create. So you created this scary scenario. And while you're in it, you can't see outside of it. You're in a trance, a deep trance. Now, by the way, we do that with good stuff as well as bad stuff. This is just the natural way the brain processes. But while your resources at that moment is so ugly, you see ugly.
That's
to the left, to the right, above you, and below you. It's all around you because you're in it.
Yes.
There's no future. And by the fact, the guy who drives in and he says, I'm ready to kill myself. Or when Tim, I'm ready to kill myself. They said the same thing. My family would be better off without me because I'm a worthless piece of crap. Now, who created that worthless piece of crap? People love him. People like him. People admire him.
Right. Yeah.
But he's also mimicking a childhood experience. Because, see, he was a poor boy. His family was the joke of the small town. And so here he is. He's in school. The teacher says, you're just as sorry as your dad. You'll never amount to anything. And he knows the pain and sufferings he's been through because of life. He made a vow to be somebody. I'm going to be somebody when I grow up. And he worked hard. He saved his money. He got jobs. And now he's a big, he runs corporations. He's got money. He got a beautiful wife, a beautiful family. But he brought that miserable child with him. The pain that drove him to heal or to have better, he was still miserable. He was still suffering from his own thinkings.
Right.
So this is
Well,
the toughest thing about it all.
right. And it sounds like pain was his driver to even
Yeah,
getting to that place of prosperity.
absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
But the
Yeah.
problem is, even when he was prosperous, he was still a nobody.
Yes. Because that was still the recording,
Now, if
not
you,
real.
yeah, now there's a lot of people who grew up in environments, I want to say religious stuff, where you're already guilty before you're even born.
Yes, that was me.
You're already
That was
guilty before you're
mine.
born. It's your fault. You'll never amount to anything, and they treat you the same. You
Yeah.
grow up and you replicate. You allow people to treat you in ways that they shouldn't. You know, you're guilty. I remember being in school, something happened bad, and I felt guilty, and I didn't do it
Yes.
because we've been so emotionally
Right.
indoctrinated.
Yeah.
It's our fault, even though we did nothing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so it's a tough one to clean up because we're so it's everywhere, you know.
Yep. Well, if you walk into, I would say if you walk into any church, you'll see a bunch of guilty people. I mean, you'll hear it in their language.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I grew up in the church. I
But
mean,
you don't
I
have.
didn't,
But let me just say this: you don't have to grow up in the
yeah,
church. You don't even never step
right.
inside the door of a
It's
church.
true. True.
I mean, how many times I work with an individual that's been physically, emotionally, or sexually abused, and guess who they blame? Themselves.
Mm-hmm.
They blame themselves. Now, here's the crux of it all.
Okay.
It did happen. It's over. It's not true. I mean, it's not occurring now. But
Yeah.
who's holding the memory and who's replaying the memory, who's building on top of the memory, and that is ourselves.
That's
Not
right.
knowing that you can change it.
Right. Yeah, because we may have pissed some people off even when you said, like, it's not real. Well, damn it, it was real. I
It
can feel it.
was.
It happened to me.
Yeah. Yeah,
But
it
you're
was.
saying it was real, but you're saying it's not real when you're thinking it.
But because we're creating it, that's the bizarre thing. We're
Yeah.
going into our memory. And by the way, remember, when you go into a memory, you're going to a creation your brain created by what it witnessed outside you. So it's uniquely yours.
Mm-hmm.
You created this by what you witness, and it becomes real and it feels real. I know that's we know that, right? But you're really now at today's age. You're not that age anymore. You don't live in the same place. You don't visit, but yet when you visit, it seems real again.
Yeah.
It's a hypnotic state. It's a bad trance. I call it bad self-hypnosis.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Can you talk a little bit about like the value system? Because we know that perception creates reality. And so when you hold like you have a value of committing suicide is evil, it's bad, it's not good. And yet they get to that place where they are thinking those thoughts, but they have that value system there.
Yeah.
Can you
Well, I
talk a
mean,
little bit?
it could be a good thing or a bad thing, you know. Like, I mean, how many times people, like Ronnie, for example, she's in severe pain, like really bad pain all the time. She wrote her suicide note before she went to one of my practitioners. She's ready to kill herself. I can't fix it with this. So she goes to one of my practitioners. She's in a wheelchair, and by the end of the week, she can walk. A week later, she comes to my training, 7-day training, and by the end of the week, she's dancing. She couldn't even walk. She's in miserable pain. Now, the pain dropped tremendously. All right, so inside of us, we internalize events and things. It becomes a reality, but it's a creation of the unconsciousness, you know?
Yeah. For those listening, and you just said she went to your training. So which training would they go to today, right now?
Well, I mean, I have a You Can Change Yourself online course, you know, and it basically shows you how to change yourself. If you know how to change yourself, you can set yourself free from what you captured and organized within yourself against you and or for you. Keep the good stuff so you can change yourself. You need to know how to do that. Now, here's the problem is you know how to make yourself feel miserable really well. It's a skill. It's not a defect. And you do the same with the good stuff as well as the bad stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it's called You Can Change Yourself Master Training.
Yeah.
And that's where you will learn in level 1 how to clean up, re-imprint,
Yeah. Give
change
you all,
the,
yeah, yeah. Give you the
yep,
pieces and parts and skills and understandings.
yeah,
We do have a community too that give free sessions away. People get free sessions.
yep,
And so that's the key too, is getting sessions, know how to change yourself.
yep. And also being mentored by Robert. So there's mentorship that takes place every single month. A
Hmm.
couple times you meet with each level a couple times every month. Is that right?
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Month. It is a community of people who care.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, if you like this information, guys, if it's helpful and you know someone else could actually use this information, share. Also subscribe, ring the bell. Anytime I post something, you'll know immediately. And also, we have a platform called Mighty, which you can sign in, and we give updates and emails of things happening and occurring. So do join us, only if you're ready for a better quality of life. I'm here to help you.
So after a suicide has taken place,
Yeah.
how about the loved ones that are left with the
Mm.
guilt and the what ifs and the suffering? So how can someone, what do they do? How do they compassionately move forward?
Yeah. Well, the element of, those who died and it's over, they're free. Pain's gone.
Yeah.
What's left are the individuals and how they process the death, how they represent the death inside of themselves. A majority of them guilt themselves, they blame themselves, they find some way to feel bad. They make up stories of events that they never saw, they heard, and they create it to torment themselves with it too. So there's a lot of elements here. It's like if Deirdre, for example, her father, he's in Ireland. He put a breeze brock around his neck and threw him over the bridge, and it drowned him. So in her mind, she's seeing him do that. She wasn't there. So she created this. Don't create stories, guys.
I know.
He created
Yes.
a story. She created a story that she used to torment herself.
Mhm.
So it's a false memory. It's not a real memory. Yeah, but I heard it. I said, yeah, but you see it. You created that. And a lot of times when I work with people, they have false memories they created. Matter of fact, I work with people who watch TV and create a fear based on a TV show.
Mhm.
You know,
Right.
so people. I mean, you hear stories from your mom, and you create stories. So, uh,
Yeah.
grief and loss. I have a great course on that too, by the way.
Yep.
Grief and loss has everything to do with what you do within yourself about what happened. If you love them and you're grieving, doesn't honor them, it just makes you miserable and be a bad example for your children to grow up to be grievers too, and to be depressed and to be miserable. So it's again, it's all how you represent them. Now, again, a lady, she came to see me, and she'd been depressed for 9 years. Her husband died 9 years ago. Every night, depression, gained weight, antidepressants. Living a miserable life. Her friend made her come see me. And so for 9 years, I said, well, what happened? Why, my husband died. I said, what's so bad with it? It was the worst week of my life. I said,
Mhm.
well, do you have any good marriage? Oh, 50 years of great marriage. It was a great marriage. And she said, but every night I'd go to bed holding this blanket, crying myself to sleep
Mm.
for 9 years. I said,
Wow.
now you said you're married how long? 50 years. I said, let me ask you, which is more important, 1 week or 50?
Right.
So
Yeah.
she chose 1 week.
Mm.
So I had to go clean the memories up and adjust it, how she represented, how she feels about it. And
Right.
I said, if you think about it, if you have a loving parent and you have great memories, like this one lady, she came in my office, she goes, I can't find my mother. I can't find my mother. I said, where'd you see her last? At the mall? No, 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 no. She died 9 years ago. I can't find her in here. I said,
Mm.
well, who is your mother? She said, oh, she was my best friend,
Mm.
but you can't find her, not in there. And I said, well, tell me what happened. She said, my mother died and I never cried since. I didn't even cry at the funeral. So what we did is I went cleaned up the pain. And now
Mhm.
she can find her mother. She finds lots of memories of mother, good memories of mother, loving memories of her mother. Because see, what people do, they don't want to feel the pain, so they try to escape by not getting close. Don't even want to think about mom because I'll feel miserable. And that's what happened. So the lady for 9 years, she cried and cried until we cleaned up the pain. And now she was left with all the good memories. And when she thinks of her mother, she doesn't, thinks of her husband, she doesn't cry. Just like the woman who thinks of her mother, she has joy, she has love. She's representing mom in a good way. And by the way, when you go to loving memories of whoever it is, when you visit, they're still alive inside your mind. I call this the gift. Your mother didn't take the memories. She gifted you with all the good times. And most people don't realize that. And so they're choosing 1 week, 1 day, and it overshadows all the good. That means the miserableness was more important than the goodness. Not only does it dishonor your relationship, it dishonors you and it dishonors everyone around you. And then
Right.
the lady whose husband died of 50 years of marriage, she calls me up on the phone and I hear noise in the background. She said, I just want to let you know, thank you for changing my life. And I didn't know who it was. I said, well, how did I do that? She goes, my husband, I've been sad for 9 years. And today I'm doing something I would have never done. I'm with my grandchildren and
Oh, wow.
we're at, I think, Disney World.
Oh,
So she
right.
said, I wouldn't be here hadn't it been for you. Because see, what happens is if you're so self-absorbed in your own misery,
Right.
the rest of the world doesn't count.
Yeah. And that's your whole filter. That's how you look at everything. You can't even enjoy what's in front of you.
And that's why and it's a slow suicide for some people to
Yeah.
drink themselves to death, to
Yeah.
stuff themselves with food, to
Food.
drug it, to sad it, whatever it is that you do with it. It's a slow suicide. So we're all on a death match. We have a path. We're going to end there someday. The question is,
Right.
how happy will it be or how miserable it would be? It's all determined on how you process information, how you see yourself, how you represent the past, how you represent events.
Right. How you think.
That's how you represent the world inside. And by the way,
Wow.
let me just say this. Don't think it's logical. You
Okay.
can't be positive if your head
Right.
is full of negative.
That isn't that true?
You
But
can't,
explain that. Explain that for someone listening.
because see, listen, you can paint a pretty picture, but what's
Yeah.
behind the picture are all the miseries that pop up. Because see, it's easy to be when life is easy. It's easy to pretend to be happy. Like Sherry, for example. Sherry, she'd put her makeup on and she'd go to school and people thought she was happy. But when she came home, she cried herself to sleep for months.
Oh,
For
wow.
months, she cried herself to sleep, but everybody thought she
Right.
was happy
Mhm.
because that's what people do. They put on a pretty face and pretend like everything's good. But the true story, which is the painful story, the disruptive story, the miserable story shows up when things
Mhm.
are tough, when you're alone, when shit
Mhm.
hits the fan, because that is your survival system learned from where you came from.
Mhm.
It's the pains that hurt. So to have
Right.
a better quality of life, I say inoculate the misery. And how do you
Yeah.
do that? You change the bad memory.
Mhm.
That's
That's
the
right.
key.
And then you will think differently.
You'll
Then you
process the
will.
world differently. You'll see it differently. You'll
Yes.
act differently.
Right. Right. Gosh, that is so helpful for every area of life, not just in the,
Mhm.
that's so helpful for anything that you're going through.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, I think if I could say anything to everyone on the planet, discover how to process the tough times right now. I say go back and update references in your mind, bad memories, change them in your mind. It doesn't change what really happened. It only changes what you hold against you.
Mm-hmm.
If you change what your dad or your husband or your wife did, you change it inside your mind. It doesn't undo what really happened. It just, you will not allow the brain to use that painful stuff on you, against you, and control you and manipulate you and to make you sick.
Mm-hmm.
That's the key.
Right.
Because see, you have to
Yeah.
understand your kingdom, your world is what's inside your head. You translate the whole world based on your internal references. And if you have a lot of bad internal references, you're scared in paradise. You're scared, you're worried, you're angry and upset in the most heavenliest place in the world because you distort the world with your processes of the world. My little brother, Chris, he was a happy-go-lucky kid, you know? And so when I think of Chris, I have tears in my eyes because I remember meeting him at the gas station over by the house just not long before all this happened. He says, "Hey, Chris, you need to come on out. Bring your kids." Like, "Yeah, I'm going to do that." We give a big hug. He talked about his life, and we went on. I see Chris as a happy-go-lucky kid. But I was also the one who took care of everything. And they said, "Would you like to see him in the morgue?" I said, "No, thank you.
No.
I got good stories in my head."
Right. Yes.
And so I always want to protect yourself.
Yeah.
You know, keep your mind clean, keep your thoughts clean,
Right.
keep your world clean. And I work with a lot of people. It's all about grief and loss. And yeah, just recently another person whose husband killed himself, you know, and she tried to blame herself and guilt herself. Says, "It's not your fault." You know, this 6 times he kept promising he'd do it. He kept threatening to do it. He did it. You couldn't stop him. You're no superwoman.
Right.
People do what they do because they find it's the only way out. And of course, my poor grandma's crying. She's crying, you know, she's like 90, I don't know, like 91 years old. She died at 97, 91 years old. Chris committed suicide. And of course, she's a Christian. They say, "Well, she's crying." I said, "Why are you crying?" He says, "He's going to hell because he committed suicide." And she's really sad and heartbroken. I said, "Grandma, he was cleaning his gun. It went off by accident." There's an accident, Grandma. And then all of a sudden, she saw Chris differently and her attitude shifted.
Right.
It's all about perceptions and projections.
Right. Yeah.
And I lied, but it helped change
Yes.
her mind. Because what she's doing in her head, I didn't ask, but it did help shift her perceptions of the world.
Yeah. Yeah. So how did you change it? So you knew how he died and you didn't think of, you know, how he did it. You didn't.
I do not make up stories. I do not translate. I don't interpret it. I just say it happened. I'm not going there. I'm not going to play a story, and I'm not going to make up anything. And I'm not going to blame myself either. Now, did I work on myself? Yeah. Did I have tears? Yes, of course. But I have to put things back in perspective.
Right.
He found the best way out at the time. He was miserable. He was miserable.
Yeah. So you're really in control of your head. There's things that you allow, there's things you decide how you think. Like, I mean, you're cleaning up these memories. You are deciding how you're going to internalize this. You're not going to view it according to maybe a story you heard.
Yeah. No. Again, I mean, do not think I don't make up stories. I do.
Okay.
I have
All right, you're human.
I had to clean those stories up too, because I realized you're mistranslating,
Okay.
interpreting.
Oh, that's good that you talk to yourself. Hey, Robert.
Of course I do. Everybody talks to themselves.
Okay.
So, you know, I catch myself what I'm doing, because I have to be, again, it's actually, I call it spiritual evolution or emotional evolution, because again, if you're a victim of the world, you're a victim forever. If your world is how you translate it, you are given the keys to eternal life, happiness and joy. You've got to walk in the steps, do the right thing.
Yeah.
Because again, if I'm negative, I'm going to pass negativity. If I'm joyful, positive, I'm going to pass joyful and positive. If I am being the monitor, the janitor of my mental world, my temple's clean. My thoughts are clean. And so you have to accept facts. Facts is this: people are born and people die. If you don't accept people die, then you got a problem. And the doctor's crying. She's so depressed. I go, "Why?" "Because people are dying." I said, "Get over that shit. They're going to die whether you save anybody or not. This is what happens. You can't fix everybody. And look at you. You're miserable. Fix that."
Right.
Stop doing this. You have to accept life as life is. People are going to do what they do because of what they do. It has nothing to do with you. It has everything to do with translation, interpretation, and internalization. So, you know, I was born. I have no pain with that. Chris killed himself. I did have some pain, but I worked on it. I see Chris differently. How I internalize Chris is different. How I see Chris in my mind is how I see Chris in a good time, a good time. And so you have a choice. Do I want to create messy stories and sad, miserable life, or do I want a good one? It's all on how you internalize the world. And by the way, it's a fantasy to be miserable, guilted, blamed, and tormented, just as happiness is too. You're using old things that don't exist anymore to create identity and value. It's like my sister-in-law, she was sexually abused by her stepfather. And I go, well, let's go clean this up. Let's clean it up. She goes, wait, if I do that, who will I be? I said, happier, better off. I said, you're a Christian, for God's sake. Why would you create identity based on a crappy thing instead of the good things? It's all about decisions and souvenirs you choose to take home.
Right.
So dissipate the bad, keep all the good. And by the way, you're honoring yourself. And as you honor yourself, you're going to pass this great attitude to your children. If you're guilted, blamed, and miserable, you'll train your children to be the same. Not consciously, inadvertently, by your actions, deed, and behavior.
Exactly. Wow. All right. For those people that are, let's say it's a parent and one of your kids, maybe teenager, really struggling with these thoughts. What does the parent do to help, their child in this?
Well, you're going to do what you know how to do. If you're ignorant, you don't know what to do, right?
Right. Yeah.
So again, most people are not familiar with what's inside their mind. They don't know what to do with that either. But what I do is I worked with a kid I think he's like 22 years old just last week. And he's got a lot of bad stuff inside of his head, And of course, he came to see me and I said, right, of all the bad stuff that's ever happened to you. Yeah, it's a lot of bad stuff, right? So I help him just memories and change how he represents things. Because I'm telling you, talking about your problems doesn't necessarily make it go away. It builds a great sanctuary for misery. It gives excuses. It makes you feel even bad. It gives you an identity. Now, bad things doesn't have to give you identity. It can give you, okay, I'm not doing that again. Or it'll say, oh my God, this is who I'll ever forever be. So if you have children who are hurt, they need to go to someone who can change how they do it to themselves, within themselves, by themselves.
Right.
It's all about translation, internalizations.
Right. How they're processing.
And then what they project with it.
Right. Yes. So that's where it really matters too, like what they're doing. If there's gamers out there that are in this world of violence, and that's what they see all the time. That's the world that they're interacting with. That's influencing how they think.
Right. Just like parents do. I mean, they watch their parents, they fight, they're distant, they're mean to each other, they manipulate, they ignore, they beat, they accuse, they belittle. That's emotional training too. And they're going to learn to do that by witnessing.
Right.
So
or not fighting at all, not having any communication.
I like walls and barriers. They learn to be disassociative, So there's a lot of, again, we learn to have our problems. And by the way, problems in my world are undesirable successful outcomes. You're doing something properly to make it happen. So if you don't like what you do, I'm a behavioral engineer. Let's redesign it. Let's undo it and then redo it in a way that's going to create something you want.
Yeah. Yeah. The way you say it, it sounds so hopeful and helpful and
well, it's because it is. It's truthful too.
Yes. Yeah. So there's so much hope. Like you're never stuck. You don't have to think, like, oh, that's the end of my life now. It's all over. Or if someone is struggling.
But we have to understand that thinking has limited options in their mind. Listening to me here, oh yeah, there is an option now. That's a new option I didn't know. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. I would like some of that.
Yeah.
So then again, like I said, a psychologist said, a narcissist will never change. You will not go there until you're ready to go there. And if you run forever, it goes with you forever. So these are options. And again, the reason why we don't go there is we're too scared.
Right. Well, that's true because what if they're saying, I've already gone for help. We've already been,
I tried that, did that, whatever.
I've already been on drugs.
Yeah.
Prescription. That's what I just see a lot of people on prescription drugs. There's something wrong with their thoughts, maybe feeling depressed.
Yeah.
They're on a prescription. Like, I mean, I don't know if it's like that in the United States, but here in
Yeah.
Canada,
Yeah.
if you talk to a depressed person, they're on a drug.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Now, here's a bizarre thing is, let's say I have a chemical problem. That is pure horse shit. It is big pharma advertising. Have you ever taken a drug to see what your chemicals are? No, it doesn't exist. This is a sales tactic to get you on something. It's a sales tactic. Now, by the way, guys, don't take my word for it. Don't take my word. Ask your psychologist and your therapist if it's okay.
Yeah.
Ask them about, is there a test to see if my chemicals are off? You know what they're going to say? They're going to look at you like you're crazy. It doesn't exist.
Mm.
You know? And so, I mean, there's no difference in taking antidepressants and drinking whiskey. They both will numb you for a while. It
Right.
doesn't change your problems.
Yeah.
It numbs you. And maybe you can figure out how to hide it behind the wall and don't look at it. The lady who's been on 25 years of antidepressants, she come in my office and she understands why she was abused. She understands every angle, why mom did this, why my husband this, all this stuff. She still got the problem. She understands completely, you know?
Mhm.
And about after like 4 or 5 sessions, she goes, I think my antidepressants are working now. Do you really think it's the antidepressant after 25 years? What difference have you noticed in your life that has shifted how you perceive things?
Mhm.
You know?
Yeah.
So is it bizarre, but you know, that's just how the mechanics of the mind works, you know.
Right. Yeah. Anything else you want our listeners to know?
I would just say this, guys, learn to be your own best friend. Learn to be the master of your mind. Learn to like yourself from within yourself by changing the unpleasantries you hold in your mind. Because you have to understand, it's you doing it to you. It's you. And if you learn how to know thyself, it means what you do within yourself. Understand the mechanics of what you do and make peace with every relationship that's ever had in your life.
Mm.
Watch your imaginations. Be the gatekeeper of your thoughts. Clean up, not hide, not pretend as if it doesn't exist, but change what you hold. Change how you represent it. Change the actual memory. Yeah, memories do change. And sometimes your bad memories, you made them worse. And you can make them into gold, positive, if you have the skills and understandings. But who will you be if you did that? Happier, more in control of your life. You'll be more abundant. You'll have better friends. You'll have better life. You'll be healthier. It's a tough decision to make, I know, because there's so many people who are miserable and you could hang with them easily. But it's not the best life. It's not what you're intended to have. You're a manifester and producer. Produce something good. Your children are watching.
Mm-hmm.
Do something better.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I love when you said turn it into gold, because that is so good, because then you're living a rich life.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the quality of our life is really determined by what we have inside of our mind. It's not how much money you have.
Mm-hmm.
It's not where you live. It's who you
Mm.
are within.
Mm.
The guy said, well, my friends like me. They all like me. I said, yeah, but the true essence of yourself is when you go home and shut the door. It's your relationships at home.
Mm-hmm.
It's relationships you have with yourself.
Mm-hmm.
If it's
Yeah.
miserable at home and you put on your mask and you paint your face really good and you
Yeah.
dress up when you leave, they think you're one person, but who you are behind the eyes is your true identity.
Mm. I would love to know how Robert walks through his house when he's walking at home.
Let me just say, it's quiet up there. Not much going on. Not much going on. A lot of people say, God, you must have a lot of stuff going on inside your head. So, no, it's kind of quiet in there, you know. Occasionally, I'll say, oh, I don't want to do that, you know.
I would think you're like, oh, you're so amazing.
I'm not. I mean, I'm just normal. It doesn't mean all my stuff is gone. I still have stuff I'm working on. There's still stuff I don't like to do. I don't want to do, you know.
Mhm.
I don't beat myself up, you know, I don't. Occasionally I may worry about things, you know, and I say, you're doing it again. Stop it.
Okay. Yeah, that's where you talk to yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. And like I've been on the master cleanse, which is
Yes, you're doing amazing.
master cleanse. So that basically it's, if you don't know what the master cleanse is, where you maple syrup, grade B, the dark stuff, and lemon juice and cayenne pepper, and that's all you drink. and I got 2 more days to be 14. So I'm on my 12th day now. No food, zero food, nothing but that. Food occasionally pops in my mind and I just tap on it. I change. No, you're not doing it. So, but, I feel better. My body's cleansed. And I've done this many times. I mean, I had probably done it over 15 years. I said, I need a reset. So I thought, I'll do a reset and get my intestines clean. I mean, I do good, healthy things. I process things. And I've had a pretty rough life the last 4 years dealing with experiences. And it's interesting, but now I'm saying I got to reorganize, get my life together, get my head thoughts clear. And I learned a lot these last 4 years. I learned a lot about myself, about the world, about different things, and it's just making me a better person. I'm very grateful and thankful for everything I experienced because it made me a better person, but it did take me down for a while. And I have amazing friends, amazing people show up, and I keep asking, what must I do next? Where can I go? How can I make this better? So it's good. It's interesting. I have learned a lot. Let's just say that I learned a lot. That's why I can help people, because I learn from it and I go, ooh, I can see the patterns, I can see the programming.
Well, it is so inspiring actually seeing, knowing some of the things that you've gone through and how you live. Like it's phenomenal. Like you are very, like, even the evidence of you being on this cleanse, you just tap on the food. If you think of food, that's it. Like that shows how in control you are.
Yeah.
It
I
really
try to
does.
be. Yeah, I try to be. Well, by the way, I'm not controlling. I'm
Right.
making peace inside my head. Making
Yeah.
peace, keep the conflict down, being consciously aware of what I feel, what's going on, and what am I thinking and processing, and making sure I walk in peace. It means I walk without judgment, without condemnation, without anger, without frustration.
Well, yeah, I like that you said that, because isn't it where we have the judgment that we create the moment we make that judgment, we create the
Yeah.
story, the pain that goes with it.
Right.
Yeah.
And if you really think about, a lot of people are controlling, but they're not clearing. Like they will tuck it away and hide it in closet in the back room. They paint a pretty picture over it. So they pretend like everything's good. That's controlling, but it's not clearing and cleansing. So I don't put makeup on it. I don't pretend like it's not good, and I don't fake it. I'm not a good actor.
No.
I'm a straight shooter,
Yeah.
If I'm not doing well, you can see it all over my face and my behavior.
Yes.
Now, if I'm doing well, you can see it in my behavior, my action, and how I feel. So I'm not a fake, I don't pretend to be religious. I don't pretend to be this. I just Robert 100%.
Mm-hmm. I love that. Yeah. But when I said that you're in control,
Right.
you are in control of your head.
Right. And by the way, isn't that a spiritual concept? Isn't that a spiritual concept?
Oh, self-control.
It takes every thought captive.
All your thoughts captive to
You're not given a spirit of fear, but a sound mind,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I think that's a spiritual thing.
I think it is. Yeah, I think it is. And ultimately, that's for you to experience peace.
Yeah. Walk in peace.
Yeah.
And now I work with people with some really bad things happen to them.
Yeah.
I have no fear. I go in and clean up, I go in and clean up. And I understand it. I mean, there's no judgment, well, it just happened. It's over now. Where you want to go now? What do you want to do?
Yeah. Well, with all the stories that you hear consistently, like this is your life. Oh gosh, you have to work on yourself, but you're at a place where, like, you have no judgment of people. People can come to you with the most nasty thing, and you're with love. Like you're there.
I have to ask them, what do you want, though? I have to make sure I give them what they want.
Right.
So some behaviors, because we call it unconditional positive regard. What do you want?
Absolutely. Right.
So
So and
what do
they
you
can
want?
choose something that's way out
Well,
there.
I mean, I say that in a lot of different avenues, like personal preferences, etc. But yeah, so you just got to be able to be very malleable.
Well, you are. I totally see that, and you don't have the judgment. I really don't. I
Now, I
I
will
don't.
tell you, you're my friend. I'll say, I shoot straight with you. I won't lie to
Oh
you.
yeah, Robert ticks me off. He knows how to do it.
I did a session with a woman yesterday. I hate you, Robert. I said, I know you
Yeah,
really love me. Let's go back. Let's clean up because it's you. And by the time
right.
you go, oh my
Yeah.
God, thank you for helping me do that. It really, I am free now. Because
Hmm.
when you call the shots, say, listen, you think you're an idiot. You think you're guilty. You're not. I said, you're
Hmm.
guilty. Then
Hmm.
we clean it up. Say, I'm guilty. Come on, clean it up. Then we're no longer guilty. Set yourself free from guilt.
Yeah.
Because we believe the lies we've been told. We create lies and we believe them to be true, and they're not.
Right.
So
Yeah.
that's my whole purpose is to set you free. And of course, I say, this is it right here. This is what you're doing to yourself. You built this life on this lie.
Hmm. Yeah.
So,
Yeah. All right. Any other closing thoughts for?
well, I just say this, guys, create a life you want.
Yeah.
Birth and death is a process. Let death be a surprise instead of a dreaded fear. Have fun, be in control, and enjoy your life. And when it's all over, you go, where am I?
Mm.
What's the
Mm.
next adventure we get to go on?
Right. It's always an adventure. I love
Just
that.
let that be an adventure because no
Yeah.
one really knows. We all have our
Yeah.
teachings, what we've been taught, but no one really knows. So have fun.
That's right.
Be a blessing in your world, be a blessing in others' life, clean up the mess and enjoy each step of the way.
Hmm.
Each
Yeah.
step. So
Yeah.
yeah. So guys, if you like this information, you got people around you need some help, share the video,
That's
watch it
right.
again, take notes, learn
Hmm.
how to be the master of your own world. There's only one life right now that we're aware of. Make it a good one.
That's right. So thank you for spending time with us on the Robert Jean Experience. We have resources and sessions that are linked in the show notes. So if you want support beyond this conversation, you know where to find it. And also subscribe and stay connected because no matter where you are, there's always a choice. When you change your mind, your life will change.
Absolutely. See you guys. Come and visit.
Bye
Peace.
bye. Peace.
Well, that was good.